Okay, I've written down 10 common categories of things to sell on eBay, and I'm going to go through that list and explain why I don't like it. What you got to worry about, the pros, but mostly the cons, because I don't sell any of these things. And so obviously the cons have outweighed the pros, and I've been doing this for so long, man, 20 years now at this point. And so I've got a lot of experience with these types of things. So number one is video games. Pros for video games: easy to buy, relatively high sales velocity, meaning they're selling quite a bit. You can sell every video game you have. It might be in bulk, it might be individually, but you can sell them all. Easy to ship. You can buy a 6x9 bubble mailer and ship everything but like steelbook video games, which is really nice. And you can buy cheap cardboard cases for the steelbooks, or if you want to just sell them in small cardboard boxes, you can get those for 6x9 by ½ inch or ½ inch boxes for really cheap. I think they're ½ inch. Those are the pros. The cons: first, the margins are low. If you are trying to find a scalable source of inventory, listen to that. Scalable meaning you can buy stuff and have it shipped to you, not you're going around to garage sales or whatever. Facebook Marketplace meetups. If you can find a way to get stuff sent to you, either via eBay, Shop Goodwill, highbid.com, whatever, where they're mailing it to you and you can you're not spending all your time driving around, the margins on those games are going to be low. If you can make 25% profit margins on bulk video game purchases that you're buying from shopgoodwill.com, you're doing extremely well. And then that paired with, it's time intensive. So if you also want to be selling these games at a rate, quickly, and then without returns and being able to get top dollar, you're going to have to sell them resurfaced, making sure that they work. And that takes time. A lot of time, even with a machine like this right here, still takes time. Obviously, you can optimize listing variations where you only have the top games and you know to pick from those, and that is how to do it the best. But I got out of it because for one person, it was just too much work to make too little money. Easy enough, but not my favorite thing. I'll still do it once in a while for fun, but it's not as scalable as postcards for me. 2, clothes. Pros: they are everywhere. Everywhere. There's nowhere in the country that you can't find clothes to sell. That's about it. Cons: so much work. Oh my gosh. So much work. Even if you're just specializing in like jeans, there still is so much manual work. If you can touch the clothes for less than 5 minutes per unit, that's like amazing. And you're still only doing 12 an hour. So, I mean, if you can make $10 profit per pair of jeans and you can sell every single pair of jeans, that's fine. But if you are not, and if you can't get 60 pairs of jeans a day to sell, in this contrived example, you see how I'm saying, where there's a lot of log jams and a lot of ways for your time to get caught up handling things that won't sell or probably won't sell. You have to wash them if they are not good. You have to iron them sometimes. Shipping can be a pain in the butt for larger size clothes. Like, if you sell like the kind of jeans that I wear, those don't fit into a padded rate mailer. They're too big, especially if they're like flannel line jeans. So like the stuff that might demand a higher premium has to get shipped into a box. And individually, none of these things are a problem. But just as you are looking at all of the aspects that make the sale complete, from sourcing to shipping, there's just a lot of work into it. I would say that clothing and video, all of these to an extent, are really good if you have employees you can delegate tasks to. But as an individual person, these are things that I would avoid if you want to just think twice about them. That's all. That's what I'll say. Think twice, because everyone has different interests and skills. But I think that I'm qualified to give a general assessment of these categories. Golf clubs. I love selling golf clubs. Pros. You can pretty much sell most golf clubs. You might not get much money for them, but at the end of the day, you can take all your duds to a local auction and get, a quarter or 50 cents per golf club on the low end, which is nice. That's not true for clothing, for example. Not true for the next one either. But for golf clubs, that's a pro. In some areas, they are abundant. You can, like Florida, for example, or Arizona, a lot of golf clubs. Up here in Michigan, everyone plays golf, but they hold on to their golf clubs for some reason. Maybe it's because everyone's going down south and dying. I don't know. But I've seen that work there. Cons of golf clubs. A little bit more work intensive. They're harder to find. Like I said, easy some places, hard most other places. Things that are worth, you want something you can make some serious money off of, just because you're unlikely to find 1,000 drivers a year you can make $60 off. That would be tough to do. That's where how I look at it. If it's good or bad. If you can make 60 grand off of any niche, you can probably find a way to do it efficiently. But how do you make 60 grand off drivers? Because the good ones are being held on to. The ones that are being donated are the ones where you're going to be in the $60 to $200 range profit. And so you got to find 500, to 1,000 of those to make it worth your time. Shipping can be kind of a pain in the butt. You have to ship everything UPS basically, because most drivers are too long. They go past whatever USPS rates there are for cheap USPS GA. So you're shipping most things FedEx or UPS, which can be a pain in the butt. And you got to buy custom boxes that are 50 by 5 by 5 typically is going to be what, you'll cut down to size for other clubs. If you're selling sets of clubs, I think that's probably better. If you're doing sets of clubs, you can really move those a lot faster than you would be doing like individual irons, for example. But this is not, I don't do it because it's not around me. If I had access to golf clubs, I probably would sell a lot more of them. But they're just not around me. I've never seen them anywhere in the north or the northwest, like in abundance, like I have in the south. Books. Books is number 4. I like selling books, but this is undeniable. Most books that are out there are not worth shit. They aren't. They're not worth the paper they're printed on. That sucks. It's true though. And so you have a lot of inventory you got to get rid of. And so you're going to have to donate it, maybe find a paper recycler who buys them, or give them away, throw them away. The cons are so overwhelming. The pros, some books are worth a lot of money. They're easy to store. They're easy to ship. You can have a pretty formulaic photograph setup where you do front cover, spine, back cover, interior, publication date, and then like any, like the slope, whatever, anything else that sticks out about the book. So that you can be very formulaic, which I like, makes it easier. But it's just not, you have to be, if you're buying truckloads of books. Last time I bought a truckload of book was in 2018 or 19. And my sell-through rate back then was about 20 or 15%, I think. And that was a lot of books selling for like 5-cent profit on Amazon and probably losing money, to be honest. So it's not scalable in the same way that trading cards are, in the sense you can easily buy trading cards, you can easily sort trading cards, you can easily sell trading cards. The margin is not good in trading cards, not always for like bulk buys, but the paradigm of easy come, easy go is not the same for books. You really have to be a lot more discerning, and you can make a lot of money doing this if you are really good, if you have a great memory, if you have access to high-end niche titles. But what I don't like about it is how much crap you're saddled down with. Books are cheap, but there's a cost associated with holding on to them. High-end electronics, number 5, halfway through. A lot of more return fraud than other areas. High acquisition cost. If they break during shipping, and if this happens 10 times a year, you're gonna run into a lot of problems getting your insurance payouts. Like after like 3 a quarter, I've noticed that like Shipsurance or USPS gets more. They care more about, they think you're faking it. They think it's insurance fraud. Or they're at least investigating it, and it's just nothing that I like to be. I can't be bothered with that stuff. Shipping can be a lot. They can be heavy. Internal parts can break if they're older electronics, so you're going to have to get good at repairing things and replacing belts, etc. The pros would be you can make more money per item. Obviously, higher end stuff is going to have an absolute higher amount of money than something that sells for $5. That's just math. Kind of hard to find, not around here. If you're in a metropolitan area, there are enough people who are donating high-end electronics to thrift stores that you can probably, and they're hard enough for thrift stores to identify and test, which keeps them from selling it themselves. That you can get away with it, but there just the getting things to the buyer and keeping your money. That's the hardest part about high-end electronics. Car accessories. I wish I could do this. I wish that I lived somewhere where stuff didn't rust and I could just go to like junkyards and pull off hoods of Honda Civics. That would be great, because people pay a lot of money for cars. Even think about how much new car repairs cost. A quarter of that, and you're still making good money because you can get the stuff for so cheap at junkyards, for example. Like you pick junkyards and they have fixed price per units or by the pound sometimes. Cons of that, a lot of it has to go by freight for the stuff that you're going to make the most money off of. Has to be tested for anything with electronic components, motors, etc., dashboards, any of that kind of stuff that is worth a lot of money. And return fraud is really high in the automotive sector. It sucks, but that's just the truth. You get a lot of returns. People will send you back their broken part. Excuse me. Just the way it is. Cell phones. You have to talk to people. You're going to people and you're paying cash for their phones, because essentially with cell phones, all you have to do really is beat pawn shops, is beat those cell phone reverse vending machines at Walmart. It's called like green something. As long as you're beating those prices, there's a market for you in your area. Not everyone's going on Gazelle to sell their phones. Not everyone's going on eBay to sell their phones. But you have to go to the people and oftentimes deal with people who don't have it in their mind or their lives to do a little bit of work to make some extra money. And I don't like that. It sucks. Sometimes the batteries have to get replaced. So you have to do some basic DIY repairs for screens, for batteries sometimes. That's not so hard. More so it's like, hey, do you want to deal with, somebody who stole a phone? Do you want to deal with somebody who's trying to sell their phone because they have to pay their light bill and they don't have time to wait to get the money from Gazelle or eBay or whatever? That kind of stuff. Are you fine, rubbing elbows with poverty? And if you are, and driving around to those people, you can make some good money doing it. It drains me emotionally, and my energy is gone. I don't like it. That's why I don't do it. But that's the best way to do that. You can't really be buying lots of phones online because you're competing against people who have brick and mortar stores who have less fees associated with moving a phone. and so their profit margins are way higher, like percentage wise. So they can afford to only make, 12% profit off the phones because they're all going to move, and they're all being sold locally. So either cash or 2.5% credit card fee. Coins like this right here, they're fun. There's not an easy way to document them quickly. They don't scan well, so you have to use a flatbed scanner, and you can do them all at once, and then write a program that takes the individual images. That's the best way to do it, I think. But it has to be a front and back scanner. That's kind of expensive to begin with, and you have to know a lot about the coins by looking at them, because it isn't always obvious. Like what? This is a good example. This coin right here. This is Winston Churchill on back, so I'm assuming it's a UK coin, but it doesn't say that it's a UK coin. It could be a Canadian coin, it could be an Australian coin, it could be any country who was under the rule of the United Kingdom at some point in their history, because it's from like 1962. So you have to have a bit more knowledge about it. They are easy to get, and if you use eBay standard envelope shipping, which means it ships for about 69 cents, that really helps with the margins. So you can make money on them, but you're going to be doing a lot of work, and if you don't have it automated like to the utmost degree, then it's just going to be a lot of work, and it's not going to be a lot of meat on the bone, especially if you're a beginner and you're just trying to learn this stuff. What I see the people who make the most money doing is they're focusing on certain coins that are made of precious metals, and they're buying them for less than the cost of precious metals. And if the coins are in great condition or especially rare, then great, huge profit. And if they're not, then they scrap them for a 5% profit or whatever. And they're spending $500,000 a year doing this, and they're buying everything around them. They're going to seize property, seize asset auctions, that kind of stuff. So I think coins are like a dark horse, cool thing. I don't know if the market's going up or going down. I don't really follow it. But I think that for low value coins, if you can automate it, you've got leverage there. Number 9, Legos. I don't know shit about Legos. Nothing. I know that the minifigs are worth some money. I know that individually tracking parts are worth money, and that's cool. And that you can buy a pallet of, 600 pounds of Legos, loose Legos from shopgoodwill.com for $500 or $1,000 around there. You got to go pick it up. They're not going to ship it to you via freight, but that's nice about it. What's not nice about it is you really have to you have to have niche knowledge in the topic. Margins are low because, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, you have to ship them via USPS. You can't ship them in an envelope. You have to ship them with tracking, which means your bare minimum is like $4 if it's going like across town, and probably around $4.50 or $5 to ship something that might sell for $6. There's other ways to do it. You can do bulk lots. I've seen people have success selling it locally. There's even like a franchise around here where they have like a few stores, and they sell these parts locally. So it's like $1 for a brick that looks like an L. I have no idea. I'm not even thinking about Legos at all. But people are always buying them to do their own complete sets, to do their own kind of freestyles. So I think that that's not a bad one. If I had to rate, I'll rank them at the end, but that's going to be near the top. And then finally, Glassware. Pros. Some of it's worth a lot of money. And that's the only pro. The cons, a lot of demand for it amongst sellers, people looking for it. There's a lot of pressure on that niche. It breaks, and then minute imperfections kill the value. So if you miss something, a hairline fracture, a chip, it's going to significantly harm the value. It's also heavy and difficult to ship. So I think that Glassware falls into one of those categories of like, okay, if you have an interest in it, do it. So now I guess I'll rank these from worst to best. Things I would never ever do versus things that I'll probably do, but just as on a hobby level. Worst for this is my personal list. I know that people make a bunch of money doing this, but I would never do it. Clothes. Second worst, car accessories. Then Legos, then cell phones, then glassware, then golf clubs, then books, then high-end electronics, then coins, then video games. Is that all? If I miss cell phones, put cell phones in the middle somewhere. But yeah, I like selling golf clubs because I golf. I like video games. I like playing video games. I like coins because you can ship them the same way you ship postcards, and so that kind of fits into my process. And I like books because you're really hunting for treasure. Same with glass, but books just don't break if you drop them. That's my ranking of this. My bottom 10 list. I don't know, 10 things I would never sell. Maybe that's a good name for the video. What's your list of 10 things you'd never sell? You made it this far, 21 minutes. You better leave a comment. See you guys later.